Success is momentum. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, success comes from a series of small steps from 0 to 100. And the way this works is basically it's like every time you start moving towards your goal, you're laying down a brick that's going to build the overall house. But there's no such thing as one move that's going to make all your dreams come true. It just doesn't work like that. And the thing about this is the first step is usually the absolute hardest because you're going from 0 to something, okay? This is probably the most difficult part of this entire journey, okay? But the thing is, once you get the ball rolling, things begin to get easier. And momentum is a force that you can cultivate. And the stronger you get this energy and the stronger you get this momentum, the easier things move because it's already in motion. It's like, for example, have you ever pushed a car that ran out of gas? Okay. When a car runs out of gas, it comes to a screeching halt. And what you have to do is you got to put that bitch in neutral. And you got to get out and you got to push this shit to the closest gas station. And the thing about it is when the car's at a complete standstill, you're going to spend most of your energy just trying to get this fucking thing to move. You're going to start just pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And once you finally get this thing to roll, it'll start to move. And the more you push it, the more momentum you get, the easier it is to push this car. Chasing your dreams and actualizing a goal is very much the same way. The first push is usually the hardest. But once you have this, you can cultivate this energy and use it to your advantage to make your dreams come true. Every time you do a small win or have a small win, everyone after that gets just a little bit easier because you have that weight behind everything that you're trying to do, okay? And like I said, there's no one thing that you can do that's just going to make your goals come true. And it's kind of nice because realistically, there's one thing I've learned about accomplishing my goals. It could be kind of a sad day when you reach your goal because sometimes, you have all these ideas and like you imagine like what it'll feel like when you do accomplish your goals. And you have all these expectations and all this different stuff and everything is tied into like that feeling that you think that you would get when you'd accomplish a goal, okay? But then there's been times in my life where I accomplished the goals that I was setting out to accomplish. And it was kind of sad because it didn't necessarily make me feel the way that I thought it was going to make me feel. And even if it did make me feel good, it was a very fleeting emotion, okay? And looking back on all the goals that I've accomplished in my life, all of the lessons were in between 0 and 100. Everything that was worthwhile that I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life was in that in-between zone, okay? So it's kind of nice that there's no such thing as the one move that's going to make your dreams come true because all the value is sitting in the middle, okay? So success being momentum is actually nice because the momentum prepares you for the goal, okay? But this gets a little tricky because if you go, you work on that journey, you go from 0 to 100 by acquiring this momentum and working this momentum and building this momentum, the next phase of this is before you get to your goal, you have to start setting new goals and anticipating what would come after this next goal. Because you have all this momentum that you've built up from like trying to make something from nothing to something. And if you don't plan ahead, you will get to 100. You will get there. But when you get to 100, if you're not prepared for what's to come after 100, it's very likely that you might just lose the momentum that you've been building because you have nowhere to channel that momentum. So it's very important to be proactive and to plan all the time and to plan beyond 100 because when you get there, and if you don't have plans, you might just lose the momentum that you've cultivated from 0 to 100. So constantly setting goals that help you go beyond the 100 because if you're catering and caring for and protecting this momentum, you will get to 100. okay? So, this could be very much so like just looking at life through these things. And if you're just chasing a goal, you're looking through like this, and you could be blind to what's beyond 100. So, in chasing your dreams and chasing your goals, always continue to plan. And let me tell you a story, okay? When I was 15 maybe, I was a sophomore in high school, and my number one goal in life was just to bench 225. I wanted this shit so bad. And basically, like, multiple times a week, I was benching, trying to get the number up, and my entire goal was just to get to 2 plates at 15 years old, okay? This was my goal. For me, that was a huge accomplishment, and I worked at it every single week for I don't know how many months. And like I said, with me building that momentum and preparing for this goal, I ended up reaching that goal. And I was a sophomore. I maybe weighed like 135 pounds, 140 pounds maybe, and I got to 225 on bench. Every high school kid knows what I'm talking about. That is like a huge day for any man, you know? And so I got there. But then what happened? Okay. I got to 225, and when I did, I just stopped benching entirely. Yeah. Because I didn't have any plan after that, bro. It was like literally like I didn't have my mindset on 315. It's like all I wanted to do was 225, and then I got to 225, and I just stopped. I was still working out and stuff, but I just didn't have that thing that was just giving me that fire to get to where I had to go. Okay, so that's one prime example of not having goals beyond 100, and just to show that it can cost you the momentum, and you can lose the momentum in a matter of an instant if you're not proactively planning on your next goals. So basically, always plan ahead, always add more, continue updating your goals, and continue cultivating the momentum that will make your dreams come true. Okay? Because the cost of stopping is very expensive. Very expensive. Because when you stop and you lose the momentum, you have to start all over. Okay? Another analogy that could be used is basically momentum is kind of like if you were standing at the top of a snowy mountain and you get a little snowball and you pack this little snowball really tight and you're standing on the top of the mountain and you push it down. This snowball will take time to go down this mountain, and every time it gets a little bit further down the mountain, it gets bigger, 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 bigger. And the thing about it is if you pushed it without knowing where you were pushing it, or you didn't realize that it was going to go further than you thought it was, you might have not anticipated that there was a massive tree standing right in your way. And the loss of momentum is essentially like the snowball, this avalanche that you're cultivating, smacking dead into this tree and just disintegrating. So now what do you have to do? You have to pack a new snowball, climb back up to the top of the mountain, prepare yourself physically, mentally, all that. Get back to the top of the mountain and roll it down again. Okay? So when you lose momentum, it's very expensive because you have to rebuild momentum. And the thing about it though is if you do lose momentum, you can use this experience to your advantage and help you navigate where you want to take the next time that you have momentum. So basically, last time you had momentum, you pushed down a mountain and it smacked dead into a tree. So this time, you're going to stand on the top of this mountain and you're going to look for the most clear path that you could push this momentum down. And you roll it again. And basically, as this momentum builds, it builds and builds and builds, slowly turns into an avalanche. And the thing about an avalanche is people notice an avalanche, okay? And in life, it's very much the same way. When you build the momentum and when you cultivate this energy and you cultivate this force, people around you and the world around you will react to your momentum, okay? And so this ties very much into the point that every win along the way makes the next win easier. So if you cultivate your momentum, you build this avalanche, you build this force, the world around you will notice, and people will be very attracted to this. Opportunities will come easier to you. Now, instead of you seeking opportunities, opportunities might just seek you. People might just seek you. You know, you can build teams with momentum. You know, it's very hard to make people believe in your dreams when there is no momentum. So, all of this to say, momentum is a very, very, very important part of making your dreams come true. So care for it, nurture it, and guard it with your life, because losing momentum can be insanely expensive. And you don't want to have to start over all the time, or you don't want to have to start over every time you accomplish your goals. Because goals, if you're on it, you can make them happen. So take care of your momentum, nurture it, and steer it in the right direction. And you will make all your dreams come true. This is more about discipline than it is about motivation, because motivation only gets you so far. Motivation might help you come up with the idea, but discipline will help you build this momentum and actualize everything that you're trying to do. So, the main point of this entire video is to say, success is momentum, and guard it with your life.